Hey everyone, welcome to Master Powercast. Sorry for the technical difficulties there. Had a little loop ski going on. Didn't know quite if we were live just yet, but welcome to the show. Back to Master Universe topics. Back to a tier list. Haven't done one of these in a hot minute, and we're going to do Wave 5. So we got 17 altogether. So it's going to be 14 characters, 3 accessories, Tyler. Wave 5. We're getting to the point in the toy line now where we're hitting its peak, and we're going to see like the steady decline in popularity of the property. But there's a lot of good stuff within this wave.
And I still hate to this day that this wave gets pegged as like the reason the line was starting to fail. Like it just feels like it just happened to be that the time, in the 80s where interests are changing. Other toy lines are coming out, other things are starting to pop up, and not every toy line can last forever. And it's unfair. I feel like, especially with Mattel, like seeing how well 85 did. They put all the money into the new tooling. I mean, for all the heroic wars, all the Snake Men, all the new Hordemen. Like you're getting like new factions and new additions to the previous factions. Like, Mattel clearly had a lot of faith in going forward, and people are just like, that's the reason. Like, no, fuck you, uneducated tree stump. I feel like there's a common thread of like some of the heroic wars being seen as like I don't fit in, being the mopey people that got to learn to find their place in the mythology, which I'm like, that was a bad mistake. You can't have all these badass characters and just kind of having, I have an elephant trunk, or I grow really tall, I'm weird.
Well, what do you think maybe the mindset was behind that exactly?
Maybe they felt like, these are drastically different. They're not part of a human hybrid. They're not a human character with like an enhanced like physical attribute,
so
like Fister with a massive fist, or Mechanic with an extending neck with a human body.
So you think it was more of a way to, if we humanize these characters, that it would make it easier and people would look at them more and lump them in more with everyone else kind of thing? Or
I guess it just felt like if we come out of the gate and say, you know what, this character doesn't feel like he fits in, immediately it's like you're supposed to like, oh, he's thinking what I'm thinking. But if you read the story, it'll all make sense at the end. Like, no, own it. Because I didn't look at these characters as a kid as like they don't fit in. Snout Spout, definitely. I had no idea Extendar was even a figure until a few years later, because I had the Snake Attack mini comic, and I see this character I couldn't read, and I'm like, who is this guy? And I never saw the figure at Hills or Kmart or anywhere else, and I never knew anybody that had the figure. So it was a long time before I even knew Extendar was even a figure. I thought he was just made it for the mini comic, but he's just kind of mopey character that feels like I'm not as good as He-Man, and like it's just like stop.
I mean, I guess as a kid you could find it relatable in the way that if you're sort of the outcast amongst the other kids at school, you could relate to it in that sense.
A little bit, but they did the same thing with Snout Spout. Snout Spout is seen as a mopey putz who doesn't feel like he fits in because he's a heroic firefighter. A humanoid elephant that can put out fires and carries an axe. He looks amazing. And then Extendar is a guy that is already strong in his own doing, and then becomes even greater. Greater. Like extends his arms, his neck, his torso, just everything, and becomes a powerhouse of a guy. Like, I'm supposed to feel sorry for this guy? It's like, no, this just doesn't work for these characters. Like, I know you can't have everybody be an alpha male and be looked upon as like, I'm cream of the crop. It just doesn't. You can't have that. It changes it up. But you know what? I feel like Orko's been kind of given that, and even then, I would get rid of that, because I feel like for a character that grew up with Adam, he's older. He shouldn't, unless someone wants to say, well, he ages differently. Well, that may be. But I feel like, for someone who's been entrusted with the knowledge of knowing who Prince Adam and Cringer really are, should be treated with a little bit more of a mature mentality. That, he can goof up from time to time, but you know what, dude, he can hang with the crew. Like, his front is like, I am a court magician. I am here to entertain the royal palace. But when that's not going down, man, like, Like, hey, I can take on other wizards. I can take on evil sorcerers, and be there to help out when when there's no one else around. Or
Yeah, I mean, but that's fantasy booking on your end. Like I guess they have to look at it back then as the aspect of we have to have the character that's going to be the dope and take the fall. You got to have that character that's going to be separate from this that is looked at in that way. So, I mean,
I know. I feel like that's going to be my lot in life, is always be forever fantasy booking master of the universe, because but at least there's another Mattel executive can say, no, that's not lame enough. That wasn't my idea. So you can't do it. Confer with Rob David. I don't think he'll want you to do that. Ted Biaselli wouldn't have done that. No shit.
Well, before we move on to our tier list, I want to thank everyone that tuned in for all of our October episodes. We mentioned it before while we were doing them. I know that it wasn't everyone's cup of tea. It's not Master Universe stuff. So for those of you that watched those, gave them a click, commented, gave it a like, we really appreciate it. But Tyler, let's go ahead. We will move on to the tier list. All right. For now, the categories that we have, the cream of the crop, masterpiece at the very top of this. Then we have great, followed by decent. I gotta get make sure I got that. Then meh, and then finally, if it's just really terrible, it's the worst of the worst.
It stinks.
So we have that for the bottom of the barrel of our tier list. Much like this, I'm going to randomize it and see what we got. So I have it all in alphabetical order here, but I'm just going to kind of pick at random. You know what? Let's go out of the gate with Cardback for one of the accessories. So we'll start with the jet sled first.
It's colorful, but it's I feel like it could be depicted in a lot more of a aggressive manner. Like, it's very meh.
Yeah.
It should be He-Man. I don't know, because I feel like Cyclone is not really under a whole lot. It's a very lazy attempt at putting Cyclone, one of the most powerful heroic characters, in dire stress, and then He-Man shows up just in time on a hill. Like, I kind of feel like the jet sled should be depicted as like launching the rockets off of it.
Absolutely.
Like breaking up a massive attack by the Snake Man or the Evil Warriors, or stopping Skeletor in his tracks from even getting closer to Grayskull, or someone who clearly is in dire need of assistance. And this just kind of looks like, well, I'm here, guys.
Yeah, he looks like he's about to park the thing and just walk off of it. Yeah, he should be like beaming down on these guys. If the rockets aren't coming out, have him in a projectile manner where he's coming down at him, and just the perspective is just really weird. It just really looks like he's just flying around making a little U-turn, and he's going to park, and of course having Terraclaw Skeletor just standing there like, ah.
Yeah, He-Man's like, hey, can I work in here?
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, I'm going to give this, it stinks. I don't think it's that good at all.
It really isn't. I mean, I'm kind of torn now.
But we also have to. You got to think about it too. I wouldn't think any kid that's getting the jet sled accessory. Maybe they're. I don't know, because also too on the back of this, you want to make it exciting if you're getting the jet sled as well. So, but half of me thinks. Maybe they were lazy with it because it's jet sled, it's an accessory. Maybe it's not going to sell that particularly well.
So what sucks too is the whole purpose of these lower tier or lower priced accessories / vehicles was that they're, if you can't afford, much like what G.I. Joe did, you have lower priced items that that may be a full scale vehicle, but this is a small scale item that you could be used as a weapon or as a vehicle, and you should make sure everything looks as dominating as you want to sell. You want to sell a bunch of these, don't you? Then you need to make it look like this is an item that will come in and kick everyone's ass, or show up in time of like you really need to get there quickly.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't know who did this. This doesn't look like Errol McCarthy to me at all. I could be wrong, but for this should have been like He-Man, like leaping off the jet sled to tackle Cobra Khan.
Anything. Anything to make it exciting. This is not exciting at all.
And it's just not. And I would have done so much more to market this and the other two, the Stilt Stalkers and the Mega Laser, which we'll get to those in a little bit. But this one in particular is probably it stinks.
We should point this out too, and good catch to Rebel Wookie here in our live chat. Cobra Khan is holding his gun like a hammer.
Well, and that's because the gun that he was given fits in his hand like that. It doesn't look, like an actual. I mean, it's Zodak's pistol, but it when you put it in Cobra Khan's hand, I
get it, but it still looks really weird.
Yeah, it's not depicted. Yeah, this guy who drew this just Skeletor gave him the dime sword monster like pose, and
so you're putting it. You're making it stinky.
I'm gonna go stinks too. Yeah.
All right.
The more I keep talking about it, I can't just give it a map.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good at all.
A lot of potential there, but wasted.
Up next, Multibot.
Yeah. This is a masterpiece. A lot going on in this, even though it's not as I'll say great, because Modulox was better. And maybe because there's more villains depicted in it, but this is clearly depicting Multibot doing what Modulox did. Like, he's leaping all over the place, taking on, two of the Snake Men and Too Bad.
I guess it would kind of depend on what figure you got first at the time as a kid as to who was copying who in your mind.
Well, because there's a lot going on in this, that this robot can form and change shape. I mean, like, just like the snap of a finger, like jumping all over the place and fighting Too Bad, and then almost like coming out of the cave and reassembling in this like tall version of himself, then breaking apart, fighting rat. You know what? I got to say masterpiece, because it's telling you a whole lot. And Too Bad being one of the more dominating evil warriors, and you got the brand new Snake Men depicted like that. They're in dire stress already too. So Multibot is being gifted a very aggressive marketing strategy to get him over. Is like, this is one of the toys that are going to dominate your battles.
All right, so Tyler's going to go masterpiece on Multibot. I am actually going to go with great. I think it looks really good, but for me, I kind of prefer the Modulox one.
Modulox is better, without a doubt.
Yeah,
but I just talk about how much is going on in it. Like, a lot is being illustrated in this, and you know what? Sometimes we get a lot of. We'll just look at the jet sled. People have fallen asleep in that battle. This is like, guns blazing, all out.
Next,
stinks. I always hated this one. I had no memory of this card art because I had Rattler as a kid. I have no memory of this card art at all, and this is probably why.
Weird perspective. I get what they were going for, because you want to make that with the head popping up, you want to accentuate that and give it that angle, that good holy shit moment. But yeah, this is pretty plain.
He looks so disproportionate, even next to him, because it looks like they're really not that far apart, even though I think they were trying to go for a perspective that Rattler is a distance away, and that his head is quick striking, but it's not executed well at all. Like, his pose is just like the guy just drew the damn figure poorly, I might add too, and as opposed to giving him a threatening, like, leaping attack, like he's getting towards He-Man even closer or quicker, because his head is extending to either bite his shoulder or his arm or something like that. Now it just kind of comes off as like, like a Halloween prop. Just no, it's terrible. It stinks. It's by far the worst of this wave is this one.
We're getting a comment here. Rattler is one of the best figures, and this makes him look super goofy. Also looks like a different artist.
Yeah, Rattler is definitely one of the best sculpted figures in this line. And this is like, dude, you went in the opposite directions. Like, they were trying to, make the character look like, kid, you don't want to buy this toy.
Are there any positives to this that you have at all?
I like Snake Mountain and the planets in the background.
Okay.
and even though it's not as a threatening environment of the dark hemisphere as we've seen in others, that will be the only thing. And even though the Snake at Snake Mountain, it's not that great. I mean, it looks fine, for what it is. That's the only positive I can give it. And I always like seeing various planets in the sky that you can view from the grounds of Eternia. Like the planet is just surrounded by not only multiple moons, but various other planets and things like that too. So I always find that intriguing. But this guy is like, dude, who said this was okay? This will pass.
I'm also going to have to go with stinks. I was tempted to put it in man because I do think there are a few positives to it, as you mentioned.
What are your positives then?
I mean, I like the pose of He-Man in it, having the shield up, ready to deflect. I'm with you with Snake Mountain and the planets in the background. It's got a nice color break to it because you have your purples and blues and greens, and then you got your reds down at the bottom. But overall, it just makes him look too goofy.
Yeah, it's the fact that his arms are just they're very small and diminutive. They're not in a threatening pose. Like this guy whoever this was must have just been someone who's just happy to have the work.
Yeah,
and it wasn't proven at all that he could do it. And Aaron McCarthy is probably doing various he's doing T-shirt designs and various other, other card backs and other work, for the line. Like he can't do all of them. We'll pass route, which is weird because the Snake Men were brand new for this wave. You want these guys to be depicted in the strongest manner possible. Like the great commercial, they look great in Men on Card with the snake, emitting from the red exploding rock.
Yeah.
And then you have this shitty card back. Like what?
Well, I mean, we have to think about it too. How often do you think most kids were? Because having a mini comic in there is great, and there were kids like us that loved having something tangible that came with the figure, whether it's accessories, mini comic, whatever. I was always a big fan too, looking when you think back at G.I. Joe and Ninja Turtles and having the little cards that you could cut out on the back.
Mm-hmm.
So having that, I also, if I would have collected this line as a kid and bought these figures, I would have been all over more of the mini comics and the cardback art. But do you think that most kids back then just took the mini comic, tossed it away, and didn't care about the card art or anything at all?
It's quite possible, but it just goes to show that I take the back, because this has been one of the most talked about things since the early days of the internet. People were start talking about the cardback. The artwork on the cardback was always something that it resonated with me as a kid, and then to find out others that maybe they didn't cut them out, but they always left an impression on them.
Right.
And so clearly, there was more to it because they kept going with it to the end of the line. Like I guess they realized, this helps sell the toy. Like if the front of the explosive red rock and this amazing looking figure doesn't do it, look on the back, and see this character depicted, like what he could be doing in your own imagination, or in the mini comic that comes with it, or the possibilities are endless of what this character can do. Look at all the ass kicking this guy can do.
Right.
And it was just another great way of getting this character over.
Yeah, but also I think I often wonder that are we in the minority of kids that just wanted to keep all of that stuff? And
well, I'm sure not most kids probably didn't keep the card art. Yeah, I'm sure there were some that did, but I'm sure the vast majority, they saw it, it looked amazing, but like me, you didn't think twice about keeping the card, even though you loved looking at the back of the packaging and seeing the cross artwork of all the other figures you could possibly get. But your mom and dad are like, okay, well, you got your figure and here's this. Okay, we're going to throw it away because this is trash. My parents were not like your parents, and I'm sure.
Yeah, well, my parents saved all the vehicle boxes, playset boxes, all that stuff.
Yeah, they were ahead of the curve. I mean, they really were. And but fortunately, people did recognize, this was an important part of this line. It wasn't just. I mean, it was one of many pieces of what made this such a memorable toy line. And that's why it's a shame that when they put someone on the card art job that just doesn't deliver a pack a punch.
Yeah.
Or you're just given 2 characters, maybe 3 if you want to, and get this one particular character over. Like show him why you should pick this toy up, what this character can do. And obviously someone just clearly didn't care. Maybe he was upset because he wasn't working on the Barbie line. Who the hell knows?
Leave us a comment down below and let us know how you were as a kid with this. Did you cut out the cardback art and save it? Did you toss the mini comics? Let us know down below. Up next, we're going to go with the Horde Trooper cardback art.
I didn't see this until I actually bought a Horde Trooper in 7th grade, mint on card, and I found it
$20.
$20.
Yeah. All right. It was one of the yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah. It's decent. But it's very figure or toyetic, I should say, because it's pretty much just taken the Horde Trooper in the most generic pose. Like, it's not really, like, it's good that I would say meh, but the fact that they threw in other Horde Troopers in shadows in the back to emphasize it's a whole army of Horde Troopers that Thunder Punch, He-Man, and Orko are taking on. I would give it a stronger ranking if the Horde Trooper was kind of just more depicted as more of like coming at He-Man, as opposed to just kind of bending his knees and then and kind of static figure pose. And He-Man's pose too should be a little bit more aggressive as well. It's just kind of like he should be throwing that punch right into the chest of the Horde Trooper there, or something like that, and even put Orko as if like he was, put him in the hands of another Horde Trooper. Like,
have him in danger a little bit more than this.
Yeah. I think I'm glad you included him, but he needs to be depicted as like, and maybe someone say, well, that Horde Trooper that He-Man's hitting was the one that had Orko catch. Like, no, show Orko in current danger. Build up the scenario. Like, this has potential, but if the other Horde Troopers weren't in the background, I probably would just give it a big meh.
Yeah, so you're gonna go with decent on the Horde
decent,
Trooper?
Yeah.
I am also gonna go with decent. I would almost be tempted to put it into great if they did a better job with the Horde Troopers in the background. If they would have done a little more detail on those guys, maybe have something a little more in the above it too in the background. Though I get why they did that, because then it would sort of
it would cover up. It would be hard to see the text.
Yeah. But if they kind of gave it more of a background, did a little bit better of a job illustrating the other Horde Troopers in the back, I would be tempted to put it into great.
And this has a lot of potential. And you know what? Maybe you could have easily just taken Orko out of it and focused on He-Man taking a whole army of Horde Troopers and just, or just, 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
But they really want to emphasize, get more than one, which I hate that not one time did I ever see the Horde Trooper. I was not even aware they even made Horde Troopers as a kid. And I used to wonder why they didn't. And Patrick Carricker told me, oh, they did. They did. It's him. And he was pointing at Dragster. And I thought, what? And that was my only conversation, or what I thought was evidence, because I thought this makes no sense, because I didn't know Dragster's name. I just, because I couldn't read at the time. So he was one of the few characters I had that I didn't know their name, but I just knew he was a member of the Horde, and he could, you pull the ripcord, he flies on the ground. I'm like, that makes no sense at all. And when I finally found out, I so just wanted to go to Patrick Carter. You lying motherfucker.
And you just take him to figure. Look at this.
Look at this. You told me that this was the Horde Trooper. This is the Horde Trooper, you moron. But he gave me a lot of free He-Man toys as a kid, just because he didn't want him anymore. So I can't give him shit at all.
And apparently here on the Horde Trooper card, it says Flying Fist He-Man, but it shows Thunder Punch. So
I didn't catch that, which, is kind of surprising. A lot of these are depicting Thunder Punch He-Man, because he was the previous year. And a lot of times they would use the previous year's variants with the current ways. But Flying Fist He-Man should have been, used. That was the current wave, and but they used Thunder Punch He-Man a lot. They really did.
Well, speaking of Dragstore, since you were mentioning him from old Patrick Carrico,
this one's decent. I feel like, this is Aaron McCarthy's artwork. Dragster looks the arrow looks a little bit too thin in this depiction. And I don't know. I like the pose of like, okay, Draxler's running, leaping down, and charging up, and he's going to knock them off the ground, off their feet.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about, I don't know. It's not great, but I'd say it's decent.
Just his body design, as you said.
The body design, and I feel like the his pose like on the ground is just kind of sterile. Like it's not as menacing like when he's on the ground, like running people over. I would almost, and I wanted to do this in a piece of art with Kevin was like have Draxler come leaping off the ground like he's on the ground and built up so much momentum that he could leap off the ground and pummel people.
Mm-hmm.
Because the momentum of like a car, just like he takes the air and just crashes into people. But this is what the toy was meant to be. It was meant to be like he's on the ground and can knock people over. So Arrow was just doing his job. It's just not. It's delivering a punch. It's just not packing much of one.
So you're going with decent on Draxler?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go meh on this. It doesn't do a lot for me. I think if I saw this as a kid, I wouldn't be excited about getting this action figure at all.
I could see why.
Yeah, it's just I kind of wouldn't have even have gone the route of having the 3 aspects of him going from running to on the ground. I would have him more just maybe like forward facing like this with his fist, have it behind him accentuating the speed, and then have a couple characters being like to the sides getting knocked away, much like they have here, but just have more of the forward facing look to him. I think it would look cooler because he's got a great looking mask and everything too. I would kind of focus a little more on that more above all else. So, but I'm gonna go meh on this. It didn't do a lot for me.
No, and the figure looks great. It's a fantastic gimmick, but the card art just doesn't do it.
Which is a shame.
It is.
To tie it all back, since we were mentioning Thunder Punch being used more often than not in a lot of these arts, we will go with a Flying Fist. Look at my Flying Fist. Too bad. Like, no.
Yeah, and Spiker looks mildly.
Just standing there.
Yeah, like yeah.
Like I don't understand what happened to Spike or it. With the shield,
obviously he hit him with the spinning plate of the shield, but it's not it's not getting it over strong enough.
It's too bad it's just sitting there. It's blinded by the light.
It's a great idea, especially going up against Too Bad and Spike are very formidable foes. But man, it's just
I like the metal here on He-Man's armor.
Yeah, the vac metal is represented very well with a nice shine and gleam to it. But He-Man, is drawn quite good. Spikor is a bit off. Like he looks a bit, overly rounded, like a puffer fish. And Too Bad. Yeah, it's again. Potential, and maybe this one, it's just one of many reasons I don't think people took the Flying Fist team in, and maybe,
what, man? The more that I'm looking at this, and the more that our rankings are for these first few, I'm just like, maybe there is a correlation here with the decline in the.
But the thing is, the figure looks great, and I remember as a child seeing the crosscut artwork on the back of the mini comic. I was not happy that this He-Man didn't come with a sword, because I was like, what is this? I didn't know that. The spinning mace. I didn't know that's what it did because I didn't know anyone who owned it. I never saw it to buy.
Right.
And I just thought, what is this? This isn't the power sword. So I think had I seen it as a kid, I wouldn't have bought it because it didn't come with the power sword. But now I absolutely love Flying Fist He-Man.
You would think that they would have done that regardless, packaged in a power sword, because if it's kids' first He-Man figure and they watch the cartoon, obviously they would want the sword no matter what, right?
Yeah.
So, that's odd that
that's an excellent point because people associate He-Man with the power sword, and to not even include one, Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to include the battle axe. Obviously, he's got a brand new shield to use. And Thunder Punch He-Man, even though the gimmick was more emphasizing the caps and the punch sound effect, he did come with a sword and shield. And even though he pretty much had to hold both of them on one hand. I mean, you could put the shield, I guess, on the punching fist, but still, they still worked it in there. And I guess it just felt like, you know what, we're going all out with this. But maybe the vac metal too. It's like,
yeah, it's like, I know we put back metal on that, so we're gonna have to nix.
Yeah, we can't do everything in here, so we'll just go for it all, and hopefully they'll take to these new accessories. And unfortunately, the Flying Fist weapons are not depicted well in the mini comics. The commercial's fun; it's a great gimmick, but
I mean, how can you though? I mean, just looking at it, that is a tough thing to try to.
I think if you were really depicting, I think, and that's why he's never shown in the mini comics. It's almost like it's a little pissant weapon that he with a stick with the 3 spinning balls on it. It's not even depicted the way he's got right there.
Right.
Like if he was like taking on like 8 guys at the same time, and just like, attack, throw the mace over here and it's spinning like out of control and just smacking the shit out of, Beastman and Merman, then goes over and blocks this, and like the weapons break as the shield spins because, Spiker's like thrusting his trident, and it chips the points of the trident because the shield's spinning.
Yeah.
And chipping away at whatever's being attacking He-Man. Like it's not defined as a very formidable weapon for He-Man. It's just like I said. We'll get around to doing more mini comics, of course, especially from this way. And Flying Fist is just, even the mini comic that this toy is given it sucks in terms of like getting that gimmick over.
Yeah.
It's not done very well.
But that also goes into the whole point of were the kids even caring about that being over in a mini comic or cardback art. They had to figure maybe they're good. So once again, maybe even looking at it as you were as a kid too, maybe you're in the minority in that whole space.
Yeah, especially and this is depicted in the commercial too. Like they have the little kind of thumb plate on the back where you can move He-Man from side to side, like the shield attack, much like with Terraclaw Skeletor. Like, and it's just, even though you have the kind of swirly motion, like he's bringing it up, I guess, to like uppercut. Too bad with the spinning mace, but I really think it would have been better depicted had he been like in dead center and people are coming right at him. Yeah. And he's just, smacking the shit out of 2 over here and blocking an attack and breaking Merman's sword or Triclops' sword like against the shield when they're slashing down at He-Man. To kind of, as opposed to like, well, someone's got to get really close up to He-Man, which is very possible. Like, if someone's coming in, he could smash them in the face with the spinning shield, and that would work. But this depiction here does not get that over.
So where are you landing on this card?
I'm not going to say it stinks, but it's definitely meh.
Yeah. I have to agree with you. For me, it was either meh or it stinks, and it can't quite go to stinky levels there. I got 3 of those.
So you say it's great too? Make your damn mind.
No. So hey, we got our first couple mehs on the board. So just kind of taking a look at the first. How many have we done so far? 6. So we have 11 more to go, and as you can see, the vast majority were kind of under the equator.
Yeah,
at or under.
We're just all over ourselves with the card backs, But yeah, this just shows we're not out to sit there and just say everything that was adventure was always fantastic, because that's not being true, to yourself about it,
Here is accessory number 2. We're gonna go with the Mega Laser.
This is cool. It's I like, Man at Arms is taking on, you got Beastman, Stinkor, and Skeletor, and I think it's Aaron McCarthy too. And I like seeing like the craters, the crater background, stuff like that, like that environment there. I mean, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's like the Mega Laser. I guess it's like showing you that if you have this, you can take on 3 evil warriors by yourself, including the Lord of Destruction. but I almost feel like it. Hmm, it's
They're
still
not
lack.
they're
It's
not
still
doing a good enough job of kind of like, they seem inconvenienced more so than
yeah.
like,
I would
holy
have it
shit.
like they are like leaping. I'm like Stinkhorse is still just standing there. Beastman's just kind of like Skeletor's taking more of like holy shit,
Yeah.
like these guys should be leaping out of the way, like or even being like hit by the shrapnel from the blast,
Hmm.
So I know I mean, you can show punches and stuff like that. You should be able to at least show that this thing is knocking these guys on their ass.
Right.
So I'd say decent, you know. This needs you need to have more. The villains need to be showing more of a, um, of a damn it, what's the word?
They need to be
An
looking like how,
aversion to the mega laser blast. Like this is supposed to be like a big shoulder cannon. Like you should be able to. It should be depicting devastation that he's taken out the Rotom with this thing, and he's taking on like more oncoming warriors.
that would have been a good idea. Actually, have a vehicle in the background getting blown up.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
to have like Beastman flying the Rotom and Man at Arms is taken out with the Mega Laser, and Beastman's leaping out of an exploding Rotom. That this thing could dismantle one of the Skeletor's, top vehicles. So
yeah, that would have been awesome. But it's kind of funny, as you mentioned, they should be looking more how Too Bad was looking with the Flying Fist one, just being like,
like they're trying to avoid it. It's just it is an inconvenience here, and again, you cannot get these accessories over if you're not going to depict them in a much stronger manner. And this is not Jet Sled, but God darn it, almost.
What, you thinking of dropping it lower now? Now that we talked about it?
Yeah.
Are you gonna drop it to meh?
I'll say meh. And I just have always had a strong attraction and affinity for these accessories that have always been overlooked and neglected.
Oh, hey, I know that for a fact, man. I've watched you lose your mind over accessory packs in store.
Yeah. But unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't share the same mindset of those accessory packs.
Crazy enough, I was almost tempted to put it into great just because. You got battle armor Skeletor in there. It gets the weapon over. Sure, they could have done more to show the fear of the Mega Laser and the holy shit aspect of it. But I will say decent. I can't quite go great on it, but I think it does its job, especially way better than the Jet Sled did.
Okay.
For sure.
I won't argue that.
So next, we will have a variant of Hordak. Here is Hurricane Hordak.
God.
Yeah.
I forgot about this one.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. Oh boy, this is bad.
Yeah.
Like this doesn't do anything to get the new variant, the gimmick over at all. Like there's nothing.
I mean,
this.
It's very kind of similar to Flying Fist He-Man, just not drawn as well.
Well, at least Flying Fist He-Man is making contact with villains. This is just like, hey, look at me, look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And even then you're just like, again, this must be drawn by the same guy to the shitty Rattler one.
Hey man, at least Skeletor showing fear of that, unlike the Mega Laser previously.
Yeah, but this has Hordak coming through the hole of Snake Mountain that's in the playset. Like this doesn't look like he drilled a hole and came through.
Yeah,
this is just like, hey, I'm gonna get you.
And I mean, it even says here after ripping through the walls of Snake Mountain, and it's like, no.
Okay, well, I stand corrected because I didn't bother to read the damn.
Yeah, but no, it kind of goes with what you're saying, that it's very similar to just what you see on the Snake Mountain playset.
Yeah, anyway. Even though like because the hole is, I don't know. This person is not drawing the logic behind.
Well, because they got the bridge right there too. So
the bridge is there, but then the snake is like, I guess the snake is stretched all the way down, like it. The giant snake could stop Hurricane Hordak from coming through. I guess what they're trying to depict. But
well, for the sake of it, let's just go with yes. He is ripped through the walls using.
Is ripped through a wall, but it for what you're trying to depict, it's a very piss poor depiction of this gimmick that can tear through stuff and dismantle anything and everything in its path. Is just like, I mean, his pose is pitiful. And if anything, you should have had Hurricane Hornet up there taking on the big snake at Snake Mountain. Like he's like, I'm not afraid of this giant thing. I'm gonna knock the shit out of this giant snake. You know, they should have done something like that as opposed to just, you know, Skeletor just looking like, oh my god, you know, just this stinks. It stinks, man.
So Tyler making it stinky for a third time this episode. I am gonna have to agree with you on this. It's not good at all.
It's not Hordak's finest hour for someone that's supposed to be, you know, that's the leader of the evil horde, man. He shouldn't be fucking around. And but it's like his pose just looks very amateurish at best. You know, it's like someone had no business drawing these characters.
Yeah. Pretty bad. From that, we move on to one of our rock people.
The one rock warrior I had as a kid was Stone Dar.
I had them both.
Oh, I would wish I had Rock On as a kid. You're lucky that you had both as a kid.
Well, I mean, it was hand-me-downs.
Oh.
Yeah, so we got to think. One of my mom's nephews, cousins, something. I can't remember the relation, but close enough in age. I think he was maybe 6 years older than me.
Okay.
So, I got a lot of his hand-me-downs. It was Master Universe, Thundercats, the mini Cat Slayer, and some of the mini figures, which unfortunately, because of the hand-me-down aspect of it, myself and my parents both saw it as like, we can put this stuff in yard sales, right? So, oh man, the mini layer and mini figures went into the yard sale, which I bought back.
You since remedied that.
Yeah, because I had to have that back, and it's like, if I'm gonna have any, and I love the mini Cat Slayer. Not to kind of
amazing,
yeah, not to get much on this tangent, but it was a great way to have that, and not, because you think about the Cat Slayer from the vintage toy line, how expensive that is, how expensive it was back then, having a miniature version of that. And I'm surprised that Masters of the Universe at the time didn't kind of go a little more that route too.
It was a great idea of like pocket size versions of the toys you love that you could take on the go.
Yeah,
like you could take that Thundercats layer and take it on a car trip to the beach.
Yep.
Sit in the back seat and have endless battles, you know, for hours, you know, or while you're at the beach, and you know, it's not taking up a bunch of space or anything like that.
I'm really surprised Master Universe didn't do anything with that.
Yeah.
Other toy lines would go on to do, especially Ninja Turtles. They would go and really harness that gimmick of having miniature versions and miniature play sets that you could take on the go. So
because they did that whole like pocket version of like X-Men and Spider-Man. It was like, it had like a comic book cover on the front. You would open it up to like this little mini place. It's like the whole Polly Pocket Mighty Max thing, you know.
Yeah,
they did that with superheroes, which was pretty cool.
Hey Mattel, if you're listening, you could probably do something like that now if you really wanted to, but
we know you guys don't care about quality, so you know,
I gotta say, 3 3/4 line, you haven't done that before. You should do that and produce all the vehicles and play sets and everybody, and that would be, I'm sure people would jump all over that. But Stone Dar, how are we feeling about this card art?
It's odd that there's multiple Stone Dars behind it. It's trying to be more of the Rock Warrior race, but it's just more just kind of getting lazy. It just, you could have thrown Rock On in the background or another heroic warrior, something like that. But it's pretty much like drawing the Rock On figure like in a very sterile pose, and then he just falls into rock.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess you don't want to do too much with him because you couldn't do as much with the figure as well.
Yeah,
that's the mentality behind it too.
Yeah, it's decent. It's I because I look. I mean, when you're used to certain ones where the poses look more dynamic and more aggressive and more threatening and packing a bigger punch, you're like, why can't you do that with everybody? And this is getting the fact that he's transforms into a rock, and can tackle and roll
You can
after.
throw him at your other action figure.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what they're trying to allude to, and that this is a meteor that's coming after Skeletor and Webstor, and it could be more versatile, but it's okay. It's decent.
I'm gonna go meh. It doesn't do much for me. It gets over the feature, I suppose, but there's beyond that, there's not much to it, as you pointed out. Why have multiple of him in the background? Sure, we're trying to say here's more rock people. Here's this race.
I wouldn't even bother with that. If you just
I wouldn't have done it either.
Yeah, I'd have taken that space away and just give more space to getting Stone Dog over as his own character. Nobody else. If you had to put anybody else, I would have put Tila and I don't know, Man at Arms in the back or something like that. Or just but really didn't need to put anybody else. Just really focused on Stone Dog. But just another missed opportunity.
Yeah. Up next.
This one left an impression on me as a kid. And I think one of the biggest things is because it was so colorful.
Mm-hmm.
With Tongue Lasher and the purple and the red, and then the green of the swamp and the yellow background, and then Cyclone being as colorful as he is. I really like this one a lot.
I love too the fact that there's a skull here in the bottom left.
Yeah,
I'm like, who was this?
Yeah, and it's not just a skull, but someone's limbs have been gnawed to bone. So
is it what did Tongue Lasher do this?
Yeah,
or it's a thing. Did Tongue Lasher give the venomous lick, and then whoever it was just left for dead, and something else came along and
then just ate it.
To the bone.
I have a lot of nostalgia for this particular card back. So I think because of that and because of how colorful it is, it's not the most dynamic poses, and you're using the guy that has a built-in radar system to not be able to detect, but he is a snake still. I mean, you start bringing too much logic in the Master of the Universe, then you start killing the fun in it. So I'm gonna say masterpiece because I just like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna go great with this. I can't quite go masterpiece level for me, but this is one of the better ones that we've seen thus far. As you mentioned, it's just great colors all around. You look at the sky; it's got that yellow hue. Then we have the greens, and then
it's almost like it's like at dawn, sunset, like the sun's going down, and it's not as bright out. Even though it's completely bright yellow, I just think of the sun is setting.
So Tyler's got two masterpieces.
Nathan has none.
I have yet to have a masterpiece. So we will see with the few that we have left, which we still got a decent little amount here. But let's go ahead and I'll save that one. We'll save that. We'll stick with Snake Man. We'll go with King.
Okay. Yeah, this one's pretty good, even though the side pictures are and He-Man himself is not drawn as great, but the idea you're trying to get across, I like this one a lot too. And plus the fact that you're including it was a one giant big snake attack. Everyone's in hiding. He-Man's being like, "Oh, it's this heroic guy," and holy shit, he's snakes. So it does a lot. And I guess you can't have everybody. And King Hiss in his snake form looks quite menacing here, and to see Cobra Khan come out of hiding along with the Snake Man as well is a fun idea because they wanted to sell more Cobra Khans, I guess, because they're putting him over. It's like, hey, he's a member of the Snake Man. Sell more Cobra Khans. So I'm gonna say.
Is this kind of where the whole argument that people love to have about Cobra Khan. Is he a snake man or is he just an evil warrior? Does it kind of just base it off of how they wanted to lump him in with everyone and
I think just because
misconceptions?
he is a snake man, everyone is just so quick to forget that he was introduced as an evil warrior, and they took time in the King of the Snake Man minicomics to say Skeletor was like, join them, be my spy with the Snake Men, and relay whatever you find out back to me, but become an ally of theirs. So in that idea, it's fun, and I like that idea. But he is and will forever be one of Skeletor's evil warriors. Like, it was a great idea, but I and maybe some people, they just like, because maybe it's more based about their views on MYP, where Cobra Khan comes in pretending to want to join up with Skeletor, but he really wants to bring Snake Man back, and maybe that's what people like more. They like that perspective and mentality that he is a Snake Man through and through, not just a descendant.
I kind of like that aspect too that they went with MYP. Of taking that element, it's like, oh, he's going to join the Evil Warriors, but no, he's the underlying force that's going to bring the Snake Men, help bring him back. I'm
more preferences like his allegiances with Skeletor, but I always thought this was a cool concept that he would go on missions with the Snake Men, that King Hiss would welcome in, hoping maybe he would, tell me what you've learned from Skeletor. Tell me about Skeletor. What is he up to? And I just, story wise, this character could be both sides for his own personal gain, or he's really setting up the Snake Man for one of the biggest falls when everything goes to shit. You got the Horde, the Snake Men, the Heroic Warriors, Evil Warriors are all battling it out, and how are the Snake Men going to fall? Maybe because Cobra Khan slipped a little bit of important information to Skeletor that used to his advantage and would get them shut down, in the big battle of battles. But I'm going to say this was a great one.
Yeah. I'm gonna go decent.
Okay.
Almost tempted to go mad just because the art.
The art of He-Man is not great.
I mean, they made his back very vascular. I get that, and I love the ideas. Like I enjoyed that. It's pretty funny, but not crazy about the art. But I love that it shows what you can do with the toy.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go decent.
That's cool. I completely get that.
But hey, you got your first grade on the board. I'll set down there. Up next, we were mentioning him earlier. He's a sad sack. Nobody likes him. Snap. It's all right. So we have it here with the swoosh, so we can see that his snout has moved in this direction. So it's brought him to this point that he's standing at this really awkward, showing off his ability, but it's kind of weird. It just doesn't quite click the way that it should.
Well, and I feel like too that he should not be turning. His face should be focused on the battle. Like it should be a side profile of him, fist clenched.
He should look how He-Man did in the King Hiss one. More of that perspective facing, more of that direction.
Yeah. This is very awkward. Like he's just like, it's like the figure has been literally just draw the figure and have him, like looking like, see what I can do, kids. No, he needs to be. He's taking on all the Snake Men by himself and knocking them on their ass because it's like a fire hose. Like the pressure behind a fire hose can knock anyone on their ass. So this is what this is depicting. And it's in a desert. It's a great idea, but man, these poses are they're not good. Like it's like tongue lasher, like very strong. Like it's cool. You got Rattler on his ass, like he's on the ground trying to get up. But man,
but even
they're all not drawn
weird
at all. Yeah, I
I'm gonna go meh.
Yeah, I'm saying meh
for this one. Damn, dude. We got way more in the lower categories. I think it's kind of a first
it
for
is.
us.
It is, man. But you know what? It's we're not. It's not saying the characters are that way because
No.
none of these characters
Yeah.
are. It's just the card arts. They're a mixed bag in this way. They really are.
Yeah. And we actually had this question: Are we judging Wave 5 against the other waves? Because compared to them, these are terrible. No, we're just judging them just solely on this. But
Yeah.
I mean, admittedly, yeah, if we were to compare these to previous waves, yeah, this is definitely
It would
definitely
probably be the bottom because the first wave of Cardbacks, which came out in the re-releases in wave 2, had got very simple but very beautiful looking, illustrations, that Aaron McCarthy did to get over the single characters, and then they get progressively better, into wave 3, into wave 4, and then we hit wave 6 has got some decent ones as well too. I mean, there's some duds in there, but there's some some pretty good ones. This by far is the most mixed levels of quality.
It really is.
Especially for something that they were like, we're spending more money on these figures to get more tooling, and it's just, man, how did the ball get dropped on trying to get the card art out there and on the same level of quality as the previous waves? I don't get it, man.
It's making no sense because you're making by this point so much money and it's at its peak of popularity. You would think that they would kind of go all out, but it is what it is. Tyler, we have 5 more left. I want to tell all of you at home, if you're enjoying this so far, make sure you hit that like button. We would really appreciate it. And as we said earlier, leave a comment down below and give us your individual rankings for
absolutely. If you think we're wrong or we're misjudging, like, tell us. We have no problem being told that our opinions are wrong. Certainly don't claim to always be right.
Next up, we will move on to a character that a lot of people they think is a shit character, which I will never understand. But here's Extendar.
I like this one. I mean, this is simple, but it's well drawn by Aaron McCarthy, and I like the fact that you show and they would do this as we've seen in a couple of these, where you have like a picture of like a scenario, and then here's the aftermath. So I like what they're illustrating. That Extendar is being ambushed by Terrorclaw, Skeletor, and all the Snake Men, Sans King Hiss, in this very interesting kind of another crater-esque environment. But then it's like when they think they got the drop on Extendar, like, nah, he flips the script and he's towering over all of them. Like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of all you guys now. So I like this one a lot.
I could have done without the fact that here in the text that they had to say reaches, because we have to extend that because it's Extendar. You don't need to do that.
Don't need to do that. That's completely unnecessary.
But I'm with you on this. It's awesome to see 3 characters converging on him in this little smaller bubble, and then you can see everyone in all of them. I'm not going to put this quite at masterpiece, but much like you, I do enjoy this a lot because the background is also really, really
it's different.
Odd.
It's unique. It is odd. Like the plant life around.
Yeah, it's like, what is that?
Yeah,
where are we at?
Kind of mechanical almost.
Yeah,
like mechanical plants, as if like what's his name? Guy that designed Alien, who always incorporates like dicks and vaginas into everything. Oh God.
H.R. Giger.
I can't believe I brain farted on that.
Hey, I almost
not that extreme, but
hey, I almost did too. But I'll save that for your movie quote at the end of the show.
Okay.
But for Extendar, I'm gonna say great. I actually enjoyed this one.
I'm gonna say masterpiece because I even though it's simple, but I like the simplicity because it does sell the impact of like what this character is all about.
Right.
So yeah, I love that one.
Tyler giving Extendar some love. I still don't have a masterpiece, by the way.
Nah, and you know what? Maybe you won't get one.
Maybe I won't.
Yeah.
We'll see if
no harm in that.
we'll get that shut out. We'll move on to one of Tyler's favorite accessories of all time.
Yeah.
The Stilt Stalkers.
And
yeah, this kind of sucks, huh?
Yeah, it's not depicted in a way that brings logic to it. And I get it. Like, people have picked apart like it's not a very practical weapon. Like the only way I feel like it was used probably was in the Snake Attack mini comic where He-Man is traveling through the swamp with Extendar. So to keep his feet from getting stuck in anything or something like that, the Stilt Stalkers like walk through the swamp.
Well, let's talk about that because Johnny's getting a sense of sarcasm. No, Tyler actually really loves the Stilt Stalkers.
Oh yeah, I've always, and it mainly just because of that one panel shot in the Snake Attack mini comic. I always thought looked so cool. That was drawn by Bruce Timm of He-Man on the Stilt Stalkers next to Extendar, standing in this swamp water. And they're confronting Tongue Lasher and Rattler having abducted the king and queen. And I was always kind of like drawn to that. Like I would see this on the back of the mini comic. And that's what that mini comic depicted was Flying Fist He-Man and these 3 accessories. That was all is on there. So the Stilt Stalkers, for whatever reason, I can't explain it, I was just kind of drawn to those. And I remember I still have it. I have it mint on card. I got it at Happy's Flea Market. One of the first purchases, or one of the earlier purchases I made at Happy's Flea Market was getting that.
How much of that you paid?
It's like $10.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah, and they had it behind the counter. It was like these foreign guys that were running the shop for the guy who really was in charge of it. And I would stare at it the first few times. I would go like, "Oh my God, they got the Stilt Stalkers mint on card and $10, man, that's a lot of money." I'm in high school. I had you have personally no money other than what allowance and what.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, you should have did what I did and just barely eat lunch and just save the lunch money that your parents give you, and then you can buy.
Well, I packed lunch up until senior year, so I had no lunch money.
Oh man, all right.
Yeah, I was given money to go to the snack bar to get a Fruitopia and chocolate donuts for you to give me shit about. But I wasn't thinking about that because back then we were given a little bit of money to buy comics and action figures and things like that. So getting the Stilt Stalkers was a big deal to me. But and I do have a set. Roboto is currently sporting the Stilt Stalkers on the shelf back there.
I don't know if people can. A little blurry.
They can't. It's not even important. I was just pointing out that they are on display. Prominently.
Okay.
But right here is not. And I remember when I got this, and again, we're seeing another depiction of Battle Armor Skeletor, Stinkor, and Beastman, taking on another accessory.
Yeah,
I guess it's a big coincidence.
And not looking very threatened by it at all.
Which
I guess with that, you kind of wouldn't be. They didn't do a good job of. They should have went in with the mini comic depiction and done something more that shows why this is a viable accessory.
Yeah, it's something that and you could put them on the backpack. That's something that they're also depicted, I think, in the catalog as well, is that you could put the harness plate that you could put on He-Man is something you could put on the jet sled as well, and you could attach the stilts to the back so you could carry them. And when you get to a terrain that's a little bit more treacherous, you don't want to be putting your feet down there, put on the Stilt Stalkers and go over. And I think in one of the UK magazines or comics that they are depicted like He-Man, Fisto, and I think someone else actually used them inside a cave to go over. I don't know if it was like lava or some sort of.
I would have done that. I don't think I would have even had evil warriors involved on this Cardback. Have it to where you're using the Stilt Stalkers to go over lava or whatever
or
it may be.
Like clearly is a dangerous terrain that you need. Or going through water that has sharks in there or something like that, or something that could, putting you above ground level, like justify it that way. And especially the gun is not being used at all either. It almost looks like a camera. It's not really depicted as like a very strong weapon, but you got guns at the bottom of the Stilt Stalkers as well too. So I get what they're going for. There's just, unfortunately, trying to get the practicality over it would be used finite. And the only way you're really going to sell that idea is to depict He-Man in a situation that would require he has to have these, not just he's going to go into battle. I mean, Beastman could throw that whip,
and just yank it
right
out.
Skeletor use the Havoc Staff and blast the ground below him.
Yeah, This is stinky for me. I don't like this at all.
I mean, unless you really, if you were to like look at the power loader in Aliens when Sigourney Weaver's wearing it, and like to hear like the feet once they're in there can like move like that, like nothing's gonna take it down. That's just stretch. That's just stretching it a bit there.
Yeah. But are you gonna give the Still Stalkers benefit of the doubt on this one?
I mean,
I think
it's drawn good. It looks good, but trying to get it over is meh. Yeah.
All right, so you kind of are giving it.
I'm gonna say decent because it is drawn good. You know what? I'm gonna say decent. I'm gonna say decent because it's not because I like the Still Stalkers, but
it's Tyler's. It's the power to live. He loves the Still Stalkers so much. He's gonna put it in decent category.
Yeah.
We will finish off the last of the variants in this wave, and we will go with a Terraclaw Skeletor.
This one's okay. Like it's I like this because he's tearing up Cyclone Shield. He's knocked the shit out of Mossman and is just leaving Fisto to fend for himself. It's not Errol's finest work, and I'm pretty sure it's Errol's work, but it's the poses. Like Skeletor's pose is just still very. Like I like that Fisto's got a cool defensive pose. Mossman's trying to cover from a bad hit to the head he took, and that Cyclone Shield's been torn up. Like you're getting over the Terraclaw is really good, but Skeletor's pose should look more threatening. Like this just looks like the toy.
I guess it's kind of tough too, given the gimmick of it, really. Because
he should be standing there, with Cyclone and Mossman knocked out, and Fisto's the only one left. I don't know. I just feel like the pose for Skeletor should be a lot more threatening, and it's just very toyetic.
I can agree with that, but I actually quite enjoy this because you also see the tree in behind him too has been taken out. So he's definitely gone, or a couple of the trees.
He slashed the tree down. Yeah, and maybe the trees would knock Mossman in the head.
I'm gonna go great on this.
Okay.
One. Yeah, I like it for what it is. Sure, the perspective is a little wonky with the way that he's posed with his claws, but I like what they're going for.
Well, you know what? It does a better job of getting this gimmick over than the other two variants. By far.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'll say great because even though Skeletor's pose is not great, the getting the character over by taking on 3 of the strongest heroic warriors by himself, that makes it great.
And I'm running out of. We got 2 more left. Will I get a master?
I'm trying to think who's. I know one in particular is left. And I'm trying to think who the other one is at the moment.
Well, we'll keep the guessing out of here. We'll go with the.
Okay. There it is.
Rock on.
Yeah. This, I find it to be a bit better than Stone Dars, because I feel like he's the surprise that kind of merges into his humanoid form and then uses the reflection of the sun with his, reflector blaster, and off of his body as well too, to, even though I like Spiker's pose. Spiker's pose is pretty good. Skeletor's is like, that's just not great. And too bad it's like he's trying to run from it. And I like the Rock Warriors, but
it's I don't know. You have to, I guess,
but I
separate the character from the art here.
Yeah, this is decent.
I was actually going to go decent as well.
Yeah, it's
almost tempted to drop it to meh, just based off of the evil warriors and how they are being depicted in there. But I like the color breaks here, having our oranges and reds in the sky, and then it blends it. Of course, we get our purples and blues at the bottom. So
absolutely, that's one of the things that definitely brightens up this card art. No pun intended.
So
and the Rock Warriors themselves, that they look great, and that's something I think you and I'll have to cover at some point too. Is just discussing the Rock Warriors themselves and their place in the mythology.
Yep, absolutely. Character spotlights all around. They need to, all that stuff. Get it done. So decent's where you land with that.
Yeah.
All right.
And I know who the last one is here.
And finally, we have
the fastest draw in the universe.
Rio Blast. Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to shut out Masterpiece because I don't think this is quite it for me.
It's lacking a bit. Yeah, I feel like, again, his pose is kind of robotic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like he should be almost like the Extendar one, where he looks like he's outnumbered, no weapons, and then boom, like, I mean, the full arsenal just comes falling right out.
Yeah, have the little bubble of that, and then the full arsenal needs to be more depicted with the way that that's coming down, how they did with the Mega Laser.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not, it's like it's showing you what he can do, but it's not showing you what it's capable of.
No. And I really feel like, too, like, this is a character that it's more about elements of surprise. You know, you don't see all these weapons. Like, you see the backpack, but you don't know the backpack can just fall over, and he's just this walking, you know, he's like RoboCop.
Yeah.
You know, and the poses of the Snake Man, you're like, you know, I get it. You like, stick them up. You know, I get what they're going for with that.
Freeze.
You know, freeze, dirtbag. You know, dead or alive, you're coming with me. Rio Blast pose is what takes this away. Like, he should be, you know, either already blasting, you know, and the Snake Men are running for their lives, or like he's hit Cobra Khan and Tongue Lasher and Rattler just barely able to escape, you know, the blasts that are emitting from all over, from his knees, his arms, his around his head and his chest, you know. And this could have been so much more. It really could have been.
Yeah.
But I will say decent.
Yeah, going decent for the old Rio Blast. I gotta go meh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not doing anything for me. Almost tempted to kind of put it into stinky territory, but I'll say meh because much like your Stilt Stalker love, I love me some Rio Blast. So I'll kind of
I do too.
I'll give him a little bit of equate, but here's where we landed with Wave 5. I have absolutely no masterpieces. I think this is the first time ever. I don't think I've not given a masterpiece out to anything. But Tyler, you had 3, so
yeah,
you got that going.
And,
but
I mean, and compared to the others, like, yeah, these would pale in comparison, you know. But I genuinely love that Extendar one. I really do, and I love the colors of the Tongue Lasher one, and, you know, the action going on in the multi-bomber. Like, it's not just because it's everything I could ever hope for. It's what it's trying to convey. You know, and I think the action is different in one, the colors are different in the other, and then you got the simplicity of, like, this is what this character can do, you know, with not a whole lot going on. It tells a story without telling you a whole lot. That's what the Extendar one does.
Yeah.
So that's something. And you know, the King Hiss one would have been up in Masterpiece too if He-Man had been drawn a little bit more better.
Yeah,
very, you know.
I totally agree with you. I think if some of these had been drawn a little bit better, I would have, maybe not masterpiece, but some of these could have jumped up from where they're currently placed. But
it makes you want to, like, hey Kevin, I don't have any money yet, but would you be willing to, like, take my ideas and just remake some of these card arts? Like, sure, hey, you got the money.
Yeah, there you go. And also too, in looking at this, we differed quite a bit in our opinions on stuff. So we
really did. Like, breaking it down, like, we agreed on, you know, most of Stinkfest.
Yeah,
our mez were pretty mostly in unison. I think from decent up is where we disagreed on some stuff.
Yeah, but no masterpieces for me. So there that is. I hope everyone enjoyed that aspect while I sit here and get all of this stuff exited out. We will move on to questions and comments that you guys have for us here, not only in the chat, but also briefly, we will go over what we got last week here. Let me get this. I should have had this up before. Move this over. All right. So Daniel Garcia, if you guys want some horror recommendations, holy shit, there were a lot of them in the comment on our Tales from the Crypt Cutting Cards episode. So go check that out and check out all those movies. There's some a lot of familiar ones that people mostly know. A lot of deep cuts in there too, so check that out. And then Casey Duncan, hi guys, nice one. So Casey, appreciate you. Much like I said earlier, appreciate everyone checking out those October episodes. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but everyone that gave it a click, even if you didn't have much interest in it, you just wanted to see what we had to say, we appreciate it. So a lot of comments that we had on not only characters as we were going through them. Let's see. I'm just going to call you Leo here. Rattler is one of the best figures, and this makes him look goofy. We had mentioned that one earlier. Johnny, I would always cut and initially keep character bios on the back of Cardback. So one of us.
I wish I was in the habit of doing that as a kid.
Yeah, I always did, and I think that was more of my dad was just thinking these would be cool to keep. It's just like all those GI Joe file cards of any figure that I still have all of them.
Yeah, God, I wish I had done that with the Turtles and GI Joe and the He-Man card backs. Yeah, I had no one in my family would have even thought about suggesting anything like that.
Yeah. Leo here, let me get that more centered on us. Leo saying the figures were so awesome, but the art makes you think about how dumb the actions were.
Well, so the actions weren't dumb, but the art makes it look inferior oftentimes. Like Rattlers, Rio Blasts, they're not depicted in again, you look at the paintings that Earl Norm did that was selling, getting a lot of the characters over, and some of the mini comic, well, not all the mini comics, but some of them were depicted like very strong and aggressive. And you look at, the possibilities, like you get into the right artist drawing some of these characters. Oh my God, this looks amazing. But for whatever reason, man, they kind of skimped out on the why. It's unfortunate. Larry Houston didn't do any of the books in this one, and Bruce Timm did a couple of them, and that's why they're some of the best ones.
Yeah. And
the rest, I forgot what the name of the artist was that did like the Eye of the Storm one. The Rio Blast one is god awful. Extendo's The War Machine is not great. It makes Hordak look like an old man, like who, who's going to have a Tootsie. I never made it without biting. I'm referencing that old Tootsie Pop commercial.
Yeah.
It's just not great. And
yeah, Hordak, they would always have a hard time.
Yeah, and he's never drawn. Well. Bruce Timm draw him probably the best of any of the mini comic artists. Like Larry Houston draw him like the toy, but I mean brought it to life more. But Bruce Timm made Hordak look very threatening. I dare say probably the best artist of Hordak in the 80s and during the original run by far. And it's just a shame that a lot of these guys just didn't get the consistent treatment. I'd love to ask Larry Houston why he wasn't asked to do any, or maybe he was and he couldn't do it. Who knows what? But
yeah, well, I think we will get that opportunity pretty soon. So in different ways, potentially.
Yeah,
I should say.
I hope, and if not, maybe ask him in person. What the hell's going on here? Why didn't you do that?
Leo, making mention of Extendar, really enjoyed that card back and it's showing off the abilities, but also made a point to say this, and I made sure that I want to highlight this because you always have taken umbrage with this fact with Extendar. Kind of makes Mechaneck irrelevant.
Not true. And I did this. I made a point, and something we're going to be sharing maybe next week, is that Mechaneck is reconnaissance. Like he is a human periscope. His neck can extend to great distances and has enhanced vision. Extendar is a powerhouse. Yes, his neck extends, his whole body extends, but he cannot do what Mechaneck can do, and Mechaneck cannot do what Extendar does. They both have extending necks, but Mechaneck's goes up a lot higher and it has enhanced vision. Doesn't make Mechaneck irrelevant. If anything, it's like, well, you could say Fisto is irrelevant next to He-Man, especially when you bring in Thunder Punch He-Man.
Yeah.
But there's room for a lot of guys that do, like, you have two flying guys, Bozoff and Stratos. They both fly. One's kind of a ape like Birdman. The other one's a bee man, but there is room for a lot. Why have just one guy who can do this? That's why I feel like Extendar and Mechaneck, they go hand in hand. They are completely different, but they both have extending necks, but they have different powers. And that's why I feel like, yeah, Mekanek does have a prominent place in the mythology because he can do things that Extendar cannot. And when you can see things further away than anybody else, I think that makes you a prominent A member of the team. So, and you definitely want to extend all these guys. There's not one heroic warrior I would ever consider like why would you want him going in a battle with you?
Yeah.
You know, all these guys have got prominent powers and abilities that can kick ass all over the place. You can't just look at the figure like, well, that looks goofy. Look at him depicted this way. Like, holy shit, I didn't think about that. Of course you didn't. You're not thinking about the actual idea of what this character can do. Placed in a battle sequence with the Horde, or the Snake Men, or the Evil Warriors, or taking on Shadow Beast, or taking on Negator, or whoever it might be. Stop thinking about these things. There's so much potential with all these, which is why I'm always like beating my fist on the table like I'm an angry fanboy all the time, because all the people they're missing the point of a lot of these characters.
And that is why we are here, Tyler, to show the potential for these characters that didn't get it back in the day, and that's why.
That's pretty much the mission statement for why we do this. And it's to remind everybody that just because some idiot wants to depict this character as like they think he's lame, well, I don't think any of them are lame. There's not one character in the vintage line that is not an ass kicker. They're all badasses in their own right. The heroes, the villains, the Horde, the Snake Men, the Evil Warriors.
And just make mention that he said the vintage line. Now, when we go to Filmation, obviously, Tyler, there's plenty of lame characters. But
I mean, yeah, not every original character can be a home run. And New Adventures, I got a lot of great-looking characters. Unfortunately, not always depicted that great. MYP, definitely a mixed bag. And then beyond that, we're not going to go into that shit,
These cardbacks look more like they are instructions than portraying how cool they are. Yeah, we got that in a couple of them, I would say.
Yeah, some of them really kind of push, like, the idea, like, this is how you do this. Like with King Hiss, they show the chest and the head and back plate are coming off, as opposed to like in the mini comic, like He-Man's like shaking hands and like the hand comes off. Like, holy shit. It should be this kind of like, epic reveal. That the skin falls off and it's this massive, snakes. And yeah, that comes off as more of like an instruction. But I think because these figures too have so much tooling, they do a lot more than the standards did. Like Buzz-Off, just the power punch. Stratos, the power punch. Fisto, the fist slam. Same thing with Jitsu. These characters do a lot more than what the other waves had done previously. So yeah, they are going to be pushing. They're a lot more intricate than what you're used to.
And I guess you would have to explain it to the kids. Like, no, they can actually do more than just what you think they're capable of. Yeah. But that's the whole thing too, is just that type of shit that I'm sure they all sat around a table and like, all right, when we're doing this, we have to make sure that we're putting this ability in here and showing this off so the kid knows what they can do and play with the toy.
Yeah.
So
I get, like, he makes a good point, but I think there's validation behind it. Even though like with Rattler, he comes with rattles inside his body. So the head strikes like a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
And the card art does not get that over. Like, again, they should have used that idea of the bubble of He-Man kind of like being, here's a rattle. Like, where's that coming from? And then quick strike. Here comes Rattler with his head standing out like a snake.
I'm surprised that they didn't do more of that.
Because you're showing the beginning and the final results. Like, this is what the hero and the villain starts out with, and all of a sudden a big change happens.
I would have dropped. We talked about it with Drexler and stuff, and Rio Blast. I would have dropped showing that 3 character section. We beginning, result, and leave it at that. No in between stuff.
Yeah, and it's again so much could have been done that made all because there's again so many badasses in this wave, man. Just all massive arsenals of weaponry and strength, and then like all the cunning and evil of the Snake Men. It's just sneaking up on their prey. As King Hiss, is blindsiding He-Man, tongue lashing, sneaking up behind Rattler, and then you have behind Cyclone, and then Rattler's just this. You know, like he was like, "What the hell are you?" You know, just like,
He-Man,
"No, no."
He-Man, the Master Universe.
He-Man, the Master Universe.
Well, Tyler, accessory packs get y'all hot and bothered. Johnny's saying each of you come up with your own accessory pack toy, overall look and gimmick. Is there anything you could think of accessory wise that would stand out if you wanted to do more?
Well, each of you come up with your own accessory pack toy. Oh wow. Off the top of my head, I have to noodle about that one because I don't want to phone anything in with Master of the Universe, man. I want to make that. That's a good question. That's a really good question.
We'll cycle back around to it, and this is more softball question from Leo. What do you guys think of the price point for those 2000X Mondo figures? And he's referring to the 1/12 scale, so we're talking about the 6-inch figures that Mondo is starting to produce.
I didn't know they were doing 6-inch ones.
Yeah, much like how they've done with Ghostbusters. They're also
okay, yeah.
They're also doing those with Masters of the Universe. So
and they're starting with 2000X as opposed to like, you know.
Well, yeah, I guess it's kind of more to do with, I would assume, as they're wanting to do with that because the 1/12 or 1/6 scale, sorry, that they've been producing or been more filmation based. I'm assuming that's the mentality. Don't know for sure, but I'll pull this up here. $95 is the price, and real Ghostbusters a little bit more than that because they come with, you know, like bonus characters and more accessories and things. Let me try to on this here. So well, all right, so it's seven
okay, so it's a bit taller. Yeah,
a little bit taller. I mean, it looks great.
It does look really good. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely captures the look and feel of those 4 horsemen. That's cool. I like the head pose and the or the head sculpt there and the poses. So I had no idea they were doing them in this scale, and they've already announced Clawful, I guess, clearly.
Yeah. Tyler's a bit out of the loop, yeah. So they've announced a couple.
Wow. Well, Clawful looks damn good there, and yeah, I'm really impressed with that. That looks really good.
You heard it here first, everyone. But $95, I guess.
That's a lot of fucking money, man. That's money I could put towards a commission from Kevin.
It is, but also at the same time, you think about it, that's no different than like the Mafex figures price.
Yeah, so, which I bought.
You bought a few. Yeah, you bought a couple of those.
Yeah. So, you know, I find this, you know, because the 12-inch ones they're so damn big.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this has a lot of potential shrinking, even though it's a lot of fucking money. There's no doubt about that. Have they announced anybody else in that scale?
I think it's just
He-Man and Clawful.
I think it's just He-Man and Clawful.
Okay.
Right now, I think I chat. If you know, go ahead and correct me on that.
Yeah,
because I've been out of the loop of it myself, honestly, just because I see it and I'm like, that's great, but I'm not going to spend $100 on these.
My days, I think, of actually picking up like current figures, they're pretty much done. Like that looks really good. I will say that, like, it would be nice to own that Mondo He-Man and that Clawful, but I mean, I've got entirely too many He-Man figures as it is right now, along with everything else. I don't have room to display, and I'm actually going to work on making some big changes in this room myself. You know, or trying to. And
anything you want to discuss here on the show?
I mean, I bought some brand new posters I never owned before, and I'm just gonna put them up prominently, move around. I'm gonna put like the commemorative figures in a different location and spread out on them, and you know, get more of the Kevin Sharp artwork that he's done for me on display and things like that too. And just box up some of the stuff that, you know what, I'm not displaying that. I don't need to have it just laying in here, you know.
Yeah,
so
I really need to get you some Master Universe curtains so you can put there on that window.
That would be pretty damn ideal. It really would be, you know.
I have to look into that.
Yeah, there's some additions that I'm like, you know, I bought the big William George poster that depicts like the characters. So I bought 2 of those and had them framed. I'm going to put them on the wall because I never owned those, you know.
Right.
I think at the time, you know, I just never took the time to I just always would look at them, and I just never actually, I probably should just buy these things. And I was like, why haven't I bought them before? But I also kept thinking where the hell did I put them? But I started rethinking, you know what, I'm going to change this around, change that around. I want to buy it. So I got two of them framed and ready to put up. So, but yeah, the Mondo stuff, look, I was impressed by that. That's quite good. But like Nathan, I'm so out of the loop, mainly just because I get so fed up with how Mattel does He-Man right now. I'm like, I don't need to pay attention. And unfortunately, some of this stuff shows up on YouTube and Google searches that I'm not even looking for, because I watch He-Man stuff on YouTube a lot, and they think, oh, here, check out the new shitty Master Race figure. Look at this new Origin figure. Don't you want to subscribe and support the site? No, fuck you. But thanks for bringing that up. That was really cool.
Let's see. I think this is in regards to the Cardback art. So do you think the regular artists were busy, or they just hired newer, more affordable artists?
Probably because Errol, like I said before, was doing t-shirt designs and assortment of other things for the line, like promotional artwork and things like that too. T-shirt designs and designs that would go on various other like pajamas and other things too. And, God knows what else. He's doing the style guide artwork too. So, this was a big wave. You got the Snake Men, more Horsemen, no new Evil Warriors.
But yeah, I mean, you really got to think about that. It was like 14.
Yeah, a lot of characters came on this wave. So, we'll just hand out, some of these characters, to, I guess, this guy, an intern, kind of like what Mattel does right now, where they just, hey, you're free, you're cheap. Here, draw this mini comic. Here, write this mini comic. We don't care if it's quality or not. We'll just slap it in here. We don't have to pay you a dime. And you can say you worked on He-Man. What's that?
Kids are dumb.
Kids are dumb, and adult collectors can be dumb too. So they don't care. There's like, look at this. I remember mini comics when I was a kid. And it's like, do you really, man?
You want to circle back around to the accessory pack question?
Come up with your own accessory pack overall looking gimmick, man.
It's a great question, but also a tough one to off the top of your head to try to think of. But also something that would work in the realm of Masters of the Universe that wouldn't stick out too much. But one could say Stilt Stalkers sticks out way too much. So,
I feel like I need more time to think.
All right, you keep thinking about it. Here's another question. If Master Universe line kept going or started later and went into the 90s and there was no new adventures of He-Man that happened, what crazy colors and gimmicks would you think would have happened? So Johnny's perspective of that question is kind of thinking about what happened with like G.I. Joe, like how we talk about those later waves. If Master Universe started, let's say it started in 87, 88 and bled into 92, 93. Do you think what kind of craziness could have gone on color-wise and gimmick-wise?
It probably would have been a lot more like, because I think about what the proposed lineup of characters was going to be had the line continued, and not with the Powers of Grayskull with Hero and Eldor, but the mashups of just literally reusing parts, the same head sculpts and same bodies like multiple times to make multiple figures. Not just, we're going to reuse Beastman and make Mossman out of him, and we'll reuse Merman and make Stinkor, and there's our reused parts. And this was going to be, reusing Whiplash's head, Rattler's neck, Mosquito's like lower legs, and Trap Jaw's like torso to make this mashup snake character.
Yep.
And take Squeeze's head, Clawful's claw, and give him, a cape. And it's just like, even though when I first found out about those, like, yeah, they look cool because it was, more characters that Errol McCarthy illustrated. They're going to reuse Ninjor, just paint them white.
Yep.
Slamurai
is Slamurai, right?
That makes no fucking sense at all.
Yeah. All those characters ended up being what PowerCon Classics exclusives.
Yeah,
in the later years
the names were different at first, and they changed them again. And I still to this day have no idea what they went with the stat, like the Fisto reuse of like giving him like Rio Blast like blasters on his wrist. He was going to be called Hot Shot. Which, okay, that's cool, that's fun. But then they call him, no, we're going to call him Plasmar. Like, how fucking lame is that? And then the reuse of Squeeze and giving him Clawful's call, we're going to call him Lord Grasp. Like, what?
Yeah.
And then the reuse of, like, the Quick Strike head with Whiplash's head and Mosquito's body and Trapjaw's arm. We're going to call him Terror. It's like, you know, I don't know what the original name was going to be that Mattel was going for. And I'm not afraid. I'm at that point too. I'm like, you know what? With some things Mattel was going to go for towards that latter part, I definitely question, mainly the whole idea of Keldor. But some of it's like, did you guys at Super 7 or Mattel just make this shit up? You know, like, yeah, these were ideas they were going to do it to save money. I get why they were doing it. And there's some fun artwork, you know, depicting those characters that Aaron McCarthy had done. But like, you guys couldn't come up with a better name for a white ninja than Slamurai. Like, first off, he's a ninja, not a fucking samurai. And you call him Slamurai. Like, does he pick things up and slam it on the ground? No. It's just dumb names, and they just stick with it. People just roll with this, and everyone's just, okay, I guess what his name is. Like, no.
But you got to think, Tyler, everything during the 90s was extreme.
Oh, it got to where, like, yeah, come 1994, like G.I. Joe Extreme, Ghostbusters Extreme. So into the early 2000s, they had to slap that fucking extreme on. I'm like, am I the only one seeing this? You know, does anyone else think this is a little ridiculous? Like, I'm not buying this because it's they say it's extreme, so oh my god, it's got balls big as coming in a dump truck.
And Johnny, it goes to your point. Had Masters of the Universe started later and continued into the 90s, it would have been a casualty without a doubt.
It probably would have, because they all fell victim to that. I'm not sure who the hell started it, and I don't remember a toy line that was great, reached great levels of success because they were calling it extreme.
Yeah,
G.I. Joe Extreme didn't succeed. Ghostbusters Extreme didn't succeed. And everything else by slapping Extreme Go-Gurt and all this other bullshit. They're just slapping Extreme on anything they can. Any packaging towards kids, slap Extreme on there. Oh my god, I'm so cool because this is Extreme Yogurt and this is Extreme Bubblegum. This is Extreme Tennis Shoes.
But you know what was extreme? Wrestling. Yeah, ECW.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, that can work in that realm.
That works in that, but with toys, it's just
it can only go so far.
Yeah, and it didn't work, and I thought it was lame to slap that. Even when they introduced G.I. Joe Extreme, I'm like, this isn't G.I. Joe. Like, even though like the figure sculpts, like, they were unique and different and more muscular, I was just like, I'm not interested in that. This is not Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow and Stalker and Roadblock.
Would you also consider Power of the Force to be sort of extreme then,
no,
in that regard?
Not really. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Luke was a bit bulkier, but you know, I didn't think the rest of the figures were all like that. And of course, at the time, I was like, oh my god, to get to collect an actual Star Wars line based on the films that I love. And so I was all about that. But yeah, Luke was depicted as a lot more bulkier. You know, he'd been working out clearly. But I would consider that line because not all the characters were depicted like that. You know, Princess Leia was fugly, but she was hard to find. Like, God, man, that is what a knockout Carrie Fisher was at one point, man. They sure didn't do that figure any favors.
Yeah, I remember.
I remember my brother picking her up. I'm like, oh my god, he's got Princess Leia. I'm like, she's so rare, and this figure's ugly, but she's rare. You know, and she looked like a dude. She looked like a guy.
Trying to find a good close up of the figure face, but there's not one that I think would do it justice. I mean,
most of the face sculpts, like Han Solo's face sculpt, was not anything like Harrison Ford. Luke's was close to Mark Hamill's, but then all the other characters, like the Darth Vader, the Stormtrooper, Lando. I mean, a lot of those characters, you know, were fairly spot on from what I remember. But I haven't looked at those figures in probably 30 years, or over 20 years for sure.
Yeah, not worth dick.
Yeah. Like starting lineup.
Yeah, just like starting lineups, man. I got so many starting lineup figures, then they're not worth. There might be a couple that might have some value
we're talking
to them.
Maybe $20 or something like that, if that. Like the Power of the Force figures too. Like that, I don't think you can give those figures away. You know, they were. It was a fun line to collect.
I mean, any time around then when Power of the Force came out, and then Episode 1 figures came out, you couldn't help but get caught up in the hype of it.
Oh yeah,
I mean that's just the way that it was.
It was. I bought damn near every Phantom Menace figure I could get my hands on.
Oh man!
And I had them all on display in my room with a Darth Maul standee and everything, dude. I was so
Where are those figures now?
I ended up just giving them all to my brother.
Mm.
And this is when we're still young. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this movie and fuck these figures. Derek, and he's like, I'll take them.
Just again, for it to be on record, because we haven't talked about that for a hot minute. How many times did you see Phantom Menace in theaters?
14.
Oh God! Ew. I think I maybe saw Phantom Menace maybe 3 times, and at that time I was like, I've seen this a shitload of times. No,
I've only known one other person who saw it that many times, and he hates our guts.
Oh yeah.
But Derek came close. He got to where he just wanted to beat me. He wanted to see it as many times as me, if not more, and he eventually just quit. I just had such a strong affinity for Darth Maul and the lightsaber fight at the end, which is complete horseshit. But at the time, like I was reliving what I felt like. I wasn't born when the first Star Wars came out, so I'm like, I wanted to go through. Even though when the first day I saw it, opening day, I'm like, oh my God, this movie's not as good as I thought it was going to be.
Well, hey, then you watch
and I dismissed it. I was like, no, it can't be this bad. It's got to be really, really good. And just like I did not want to believe. And I've been buying newspaper articles, anything I could find, get my hands on about the hype before Phantom Menace even came out.
Oh man!
I was collecting a scrapbook of newspaper articles about, it's coming out this summer. Here's this and here's that, and I'm like, oh my God, this movie's an utter piece of shit. And I didn't want to believe it because I had built up the hype in my head.
Well, better go watch it 13 more times then. Jesus, Did you ever watch it twice in one day?
No. No, I would just go back consecutive weekends. My dad would just drop me off, and he'd come pick me up. And I remember the old lady that worked at the center was like, "You're here to see this again?"
she
was like, "What? You're not one of those weirdos, are you?" I was like, "No, but I'm probably borderline at this point."
Yeah, and then Tyler felt like Snout Spout. A question from JSP. Speaking of extreme, who stole from who? The ECW theme or Batman Beyond? I'm assuming he's talking about the ECW theme.
I don't see them as being similar though.
I don't either.
Two very distinct themes.
I
don't see those at all being at all.
Both awesome. I love Batman
they're
Beyond.
Both ass kicking themes. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
I don't see the any similarities, but they both kick a lot of ass.
Yeah,
they're both great themes to work out to.
You didn't watch any original ECW, right? You didn't see it until
I saw it on TV, but
shitty invasion.
I remember seeing it on TNN, and I just saw it as like the junk wrestling. I didn't because that's how I view it. I thought it was just like they're just cutting each other and just breaking shit over their heads and that was it. That's all I really was seeing because I'd see pictures of it in magazines and like they're just covered in blood. I'm like, this doesn't intrigue me at all.
I know. I totally understand that. Like it has its place. I think I liked ECW just because it was that all around. Like it showcased great wrestling. It also had your death matchy barbed wire bullshit matches, right? So you can give or take all that stuff, but
I can appreciate because I love Rob Van Dam and watching his old stuff with Sabu and things like that. It's damn good stuff. I was all about, I did watch WCW during the Monday Night Wars, and then eventually would jump ship over to WWF when I got back into wrestling. And became a big screaming girl fan over the Hardy Boys.
Oh God, yeah, Jeff Hardy's abnormally large head. For me, ECW, man, like the Dudley. So I caught ECW like right when they got the TNN deal, and then that's when it's like, oh, the Dudleys are leaving, Taz is leaving, but then it opened up the door that it's like, all right, Mike Awesome, fucking love me some Mike Awesome, Masato Tanaka. I can watch those two beat the shit out of each other forever. Now in wrestling, when they're chanting "Fight Forever," like I could have watched it between those two because they just had excellent matches. But just incredible for what he was. I was like, yeah, he's kind of cool here, I suppose. At least in ECW when he ends up joining.
When he's not Aldo Montoya.
when he's not Aldo Montoya, or when he's you did it with the X Factor.
Oh God,
yeah,
man.
that shitty,
what a shitty faction that was, man.
Yeah. But I loved what ECW brought to the table. And like I said, with wrestling, I love it all, even if there's some shit I don't like. But I always say competition is healthy, so it's nice that there's alternatives that people can actually consume now. And are you gonna watch Saturday night's main event tonight, Tyler? Come on, you want to watch CM Punk take on Jey Uso to see who's gonna win the vacant
oh my God, where's my
World Heavyweight
right now,
Championship? I might put it on just to watch that. But
and you're text me like, man, this is fucking shit.
I mean, it probably will be, but I would only watch it just because it's gonna be on Peacock. Now, if they do that ESPN shit, like I'll never watch WWE pay-per-views again. You come back around to that accessory pack question, or do you want to just take it and bank it, and we'll save it for the next week's Master Power
I think something like that. I would like to literally just take my time and think about, and not force out some ham-fisted idea, because that's a great question. I would like to take my time with it and hopefully come back next week with a the look, what would it do, and how to bring it into the mythology. But because something simple like I don't know, because I feel like the characters themselves, I almost feel like this is a line that doesn't necessarily need accessory packs, because every character comes with such unique powers and abilities. You almost feel like an accessory for these characters kind of seems a little redundant.
You noodle on it when next week, hopefully.
Hopefully, John, I can have a worthy answer of that, because I
have to think about it too, to see some, because you have to think about something we want something to be logical.
Yeah, and not just
not still Star
Wars. It's a catapult on his back, and he throws balls and
it's like, oh, we'll just reuse. We'll take a bit from the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves toy line and just make it smaller and make an accessory that can just throw stones. No, don't just reuse something and just this requires more thought put into it. And unfortunately, I got to think things over. Some stuff I can come up with on the fly pretty good, but something like that, I need a little time more to noodle over. A couple more, and then we'll go ahead and we will call this an episode. This is more just mostly comments. Johnny saying, I think my theater record was Scott Pilgrim at 7 viewings, but first was free because of the screening. That's a good movie to go watch.
It is. Yeah, I think the only movie I saw 7 times, I think, was The Dark Knight, which again, I'm really oof.
Yeah, I saw The Dark Knight quite a few times myself. Looking back on it now, as we stated before, it's just 3 movies of Bruce wanting someone to be his girlfriend.
Yeah, someone be my girlfriend, please. There's other movies I saw multiple times, like Jurassic Park, Mortal Kombat, 13th Warrior, Street Fighter, the movie. I saw 3 to 5 times in theaters, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I still I look back at okay, those were great times going to see those movies that many times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's kind of,
I don't regret seeing those as many times as I did, but
yeah, I mean, that's kind of
Dark Knight. Oh my God, man.
That's how you have to look at it, though. Just remember just the time period and getting wrapped up in the hype and being excited.
And that's what it was. The Star Wars hype for Phantom Menace. I really wanted to do what everyone else did in '77 and when Empire came. I wanted to recreate that for myself, not knowing that, you know what, Tyler, this ain't gonna happen again.
And
that was a part of history that you were not around for, and you will not get to experience what the world did when that first film came out.
But I mean, they still sucked us in, because even when Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith came out,
maybe this will be better. Oh fuck, did it again. Then, the Dark was supposed to come. All right, fuck, they did it again.
Just me again.
Put that shit back. We're going to Target, buying shitty Revenge of the Sith figures.
Hey, I only bought the Unleashed. You guys were all about everything. Mace Windu, how'd he get in here?
Yeah, put the other shit get in here, and everyone starts laughing.
Leo, I walked into Master Universe movie in '87 early during the credits and saw the after credit scene of Skeletor before I saw the movie.
Wait. You walked into the movie during the early. So I'm thinking you walked in while the movie was over, I guess.
Yeah, because it was probably one of those deals where the movie's playing back to back. It's not like how it is today, where a movie's playing in this theater and then it may change to another movie during, like, you know, you're just having like a
yeah. I'm sure this room is designated to playing He-Man, and I guess he walked in a
and
little early.
saw the end credits
Wow.
part where Skeletor pops out.
I had no idea about that until I think '97 when I just let the VHS
play till the end.
Yeah, I just listen. I just had never sat and just listened to the music and like, oh my god, like holy shit, you know, had no idea that was.
Yeah, that's kind of the beauty of that back in the day. Is now it's just expected. Anyone will go to like any fucking movie and be like, I hope there's a post credits.
Yeah, thank you Marvel for your bullshit. You know, but it's a shame too because they did that thinking that, you know, there was planning to be a sequel, and obviously we know the story what happened there, but it makes me wonder, like, if Gary Goddard had, you know, if at what point did they decide, okay, let's have Skeletor live and set this up for a sequel for him to come back, as if like Frank Langella was going to come back and play Skeletor again, which he loved. It's one of his favorite roles. I don't see it. You know, it's very positive. Had the movie been more successful. And let me make things quite clear here for people who have not listened to an old William Stout interview that was done years ago. The live action movie made money for 3 weeks straight and was pulled from theaters. It did not come out and no one gave a fuck. It was pulled from theaters because Canon could not afford to keep it in theaters, but it did make money. This is coming from William Stout, the production designer, who also confirmed Snake Mountain is in the live action movie. It's just not name checked to avoid confusing the audience. But the movie was profitable, but not to the extent that they needed it to be because they couldn't afford to keep it in theaters. So the movie, you can deem it as a flop based on that if you want to. But the movie did not come out to like, oh my God, no one gives a fuck about this movie. This is stupid. You know, oh, it doesn't look like the cartoon. It doesn't look like the toy. Where's Orca? Where's Battle Cat? Me in the Mountain Universe. Like
he's wearing the shirt, everyone.
Yeah, it's just like, no, there's so much more to that movie. This is why I love to champion the movie as endlessly as I do. Because it's always great. Constantly misunderstood because everyone wants to just fall in line with what everyone else is thinking and doing about the movie. And I'm fucking tired of it. I'll kick you in the nuts and slam your head out of your ass.
Speaking of like shitty things, Leo, what's the deal with these mashups, man?
Thank you, Leo, for bringing that shit up.
It's they're running out of ideas, plain and simple.
It just shows, and it just shows you that Mattel just feels like
they're pushing the limits of. All right, Origins is doing pretty well, all things considered. It sounds like. They just want to keep pushing it of how much shit will these people buy? That's basically the thing. It's like, where's the metric here? So yeah, that's why we got all the mashup stuff. They're out of ideas and they're like, throw anything out there. People are buying them right now anyway. And then when the people finally give up and stop buying it, then they will change their narrative, much like they always do, and say the usual things that they do is, oh, this property's not, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, you didn't do it right. So that's basically all that is.
Well, and it shows too that they had no faith. Like, well, also something goes back to what I've always felt about Mattel is they don't have a lot of original properties. They've relied on Barbie and Hot Wheels pretty much their entire run.
Yeah,
you know, He-Man was one of the few things that was theirs, and that made him a fuck ton of money. And it made sense for them to try and restart with New Adventures and then come back with 2000X. You know, why they didn't decide to be like Playmates or Hasbro and say, you know, it's been a couple of years. Let's try Turtles again. It's been a couple of years. Let's try Transformers again.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do that. But to think that, you know, they're already doing the shitty Masterverse and shitty Origins line, like that ain't enough. We're going to do some more spinoff lines. And obviously there's some fanboys out there who think the idea of He-Man dressed up as a Transformer or Ninja Turtle characters fighting mashed up with He, like, makes no sense at all. It's just, again, it comes off as something that these dickheads at Mattel, some guy thinks this is a great idea because he's a dumbass fanboy. They have no other ideas. And I guess they'll get the licensing to use Thundercats and Transformers and Turtles. It must be pretty cheap for these companies because the Turtles has been pimped out and paired up with, you know, everything. And it's all fucking lame. Yeah. It makes no sense at all. But they just do it hoping people are dumb enough to buy it. You know, just because let's put Turtles and Karate Kid because Cobra Kai's popular and they both do karate. Makes sense to me. Put it out there. You know, and I feel like that's the logic with these meetings at Mattel. Like, they're not thinking about anything. How much dumb shit can we keep putting out there? Because these adult collectors will just buy anything because it's new, and we got to get their money. Charge 30. Oh, that's fine. It's new He-Man stuff. Does it make sense? I think this is awesome, and I hate crossover shit with a passion. You're crossing over He-Man from anything to like fucking like kiddie cartoons and all this other bullshit. It's just like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? There's no logic to it at all. And it infuriates me. And that people will think, oh man, this is kind of cool, man. Like He-Man's mashed up with this, and He-Man's like.
I guess that's what
they're mashed potatoes for brains.
I mean, that's what they're hoping for, is that if you take some property that someone enjoys, like Ninja Turtles, and crosses it over with that, they're like, oh, all right, well, He-Man kind of looks cool in this garb or whatever. Let me check out. That's just maybe that's what they're hoping for. Anyway,
and I would love to question, like, why do you think this is a good idea? Like, why do you feel like Transformers is not good enough on its own? We're going to mash it up with He-Man. Why is He-Man not good enough on its own? Like, I like the idea of like, okay, you make Thundercat figures in the same scale as He-Man, which I've already discussed this, so I'm going to keep this, but we need to have Lion-O dressed up like a He-Man character. We need to have He-Man dressed like a Thundercat. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? Why can't you just make them in the same scale, the same articulation? This crossover of shitty outfits and just, it's ridiculous.
It could also be the thing too, if the toy companies themselves are kind of suffering a bit in the market, and they're thinking maybe by teaming up on stuff and pairing up with them, exchanging the licensing deals between one another, that maybe that's a good way to keep their head
probably
little more
so. But
water,
I also blame the fact these guys are not willing to put out quality products to begin with. They have no quality media to get behind these toy lines to draw up more interest, because obviously we all know Thundercats and He-Man, they're pretty much irrelevant right now outside of what people are buying online for Origins, and Thundercats comes and goes like a fart in the wind anymore, because they try this, it didn't work. Well, we'll come back into this a little later on.
And there's also the logistical thing too of where do you put a mashup figure on the shelf? If you have a He-Man shelf and a Ninja Turtle shelf, where's the mashup?
Because they don't fit anywhere. Because this line doesn't fit anywhere. It's a stupid idea. Like, Turtles does not need to be mashed up with anything. He-Man does not need. He-Man only works aside with like toy lines that share a similar mythology. And Thundercats is the cream of the crop when it comes to that. I mean, they are very similar but very different as well. But they would mash together. But you don't need to have them dressing up like the other to have a toy line and a storyline that makes any sense. You know, you don't need to have Skeletor destroy Mom Ra and then he drinks his ashes and becomes Ultra Skeletor Mom Ra and have shitty Battle Cat Man. Then people make shitty customs of Battle Cat Man because they're fucking morons.
Well, before Tyler has a complete breakdown and potentially an aneurysm, we'll go ahead and put this episode to rest.
And it could be done. I'm telling you, people, and I'll say it once, I'll say it again, and I'll probably say it again next week. These crossover ideas could work. But people who are obviously in charge, like, just don't have a fucking clue how to make this stuff work because they don't know how to write. They're fanboys. It's no different than writing shitty fan fiction. And people, look, you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. There's a lot of people out there giving keys to the kingdom to write all these shitty stories. Like, you had no business writing anything. You should be writing, dicks on the bathroom wall. That's where your pen and pencil should be. You ever wonder what it is? People taking a shit and they decide, I feel like drawing a dick on the wall.
I don't dude, at work all the time. It's just people write things on the wall. And
I'm like, who's coming in the bathroom with a pen and marker all the time?
Like, you probably more than likely have a phone. Why are you just not scrolling on your phone?
But people just feel like I feel they need to see a dick and put someone's phone number on this wall here for a good time.
Yeah.
Or they want to put their political views on like, I'm taking the shit. Like, I don't like our president. I don't like this. Like, this is what you decide to do with your time. Like, this taking the shit brings out like the poets and the politician in you.
I'm gonna draw a dick on the wall. Oh, by the way, John 3:16. I'm like, oh yeah, all right. I'm getting mixed messages here.
And I just would love to know what inspires people to decide this is the time to be an artist and a writer in the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh man. I don't know how to seg from that. I hope everyone.
I guess we can. I guess there's a great way of capping off idiots in this country.
Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Let us know, as I said before, how you would rank all these Cardback arts and give us your ranking on that. Like this episode, what? What?
I'm just laughing at you because you were laughing earlier. I'm just,
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Yeah. When Nathan gets cracked up, I start laughing too.
They should just be drawing dicks on the wall.
That's what I feel like. That's probably the people who are doing He-Man right now. That's pretty much what they really should be spending their time doing. Not fucking up He-Man. Just draw a bunch of dicks on the wall.
Or spend your time hanging out with us and watching Master Power Cast. Make sure you like this episode. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And until later, let the power return.
I find that a little hard to swallow, you jockass.
Oh, that's no holds barred.
Yeah, see, Nathan knocked out of the park on that one.
Yeah, I think it was the jockass part that really.
Oh yeah,
really.
Yeah, it's all about the jockass.
I need a.
If I ever met Kurt Fuller, that's
all that
autograph.
Bad ass.
What? What?
All that bad
ass. Bad ass. Yeah.
Dude, I walked in to the bathroom at the very end of the shift. I think I know who it is now. That just fucking stinks. And
it's the guy that shit in your tugger at work.
No, it's not that guy though. He was there. That I walked in. I was there maybe like not even 2 minutes. Haven't even made it down to the warehouse yet. And just from a distance, lock eyes. He's like, Nate Dogg, and I'm like, fuck, it's gonna be a terrible day. But anyway, yeah, I smelt the guy. This wasn't someone went in there and took a shit. I think.
And then he just pulled his pants up and didn't wipe. He just shit.
I think no. I don't even think he took a dump. I think the dude just smells this way, and he leaves a stench that lingers for minutes at a time.
So rub shit in his hair.
I don't know, but I think I know who it is. So I'm gonna do some more investigating, see where I can.
I love it. That's Nathan spends his time working.
What's that smell? Gookie.
Hey, that's what you would call your segment. Wait, back to now. What's that smell?
I need to watch No Holds Barred again, man.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched it too. Yeah.
I guess at this point, because I would assume it's probably not streaming anywhere.
I think it's on Tubi to watch. I think.
Oh, is it?
I think.
Let's look it up right now. According to Google, it is not.
Oh, okay. I don't know shit.
It's saying YouTube TV with subscription add-ons. I don't know what the hell that actually means, but maybe someone has uploaded the full movie because you'd see that a lot. Oh, free with ads on YouTube. So there we go. Boom.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, maybe I'll put on some No Holds Barred at some point this weekend. Now that I'm done with my horror movie marathon. I'll call it a marathon because I watched like 40 movies, especially Nightmare 5, the piece of shit.
Oof. God.
What? It may. As
but
I told,
four is not much better.
It's not much better, but 5 makes 4 look like 1.
Yeah, which is ugh. And then Freddy's Dead. Oh my god, dude, that's another one I've never been able to sit and watch. I've always seen chunks of it. Like, this movie fucking sucks.
Yeah, I think with Freddy's Dead, I've only seen chunks of it. I've never watched it in full. That was kind of my whole thing. I'm like, well, if it was on Max along with the others, I was gonna watch it just because I've never sat and just watched the whole thing.
And I own the whole set.
I do too.
DVD set, but I've just like
I got it on Blu-ray. Interest. I have the Blu-ray set. So
I thought about upgrading. I just never have pulled the trigger because I'm like, only 1 and 3 are worth a damn.
Well, at this point, may as well wait since that 4K set of it's out now, and just wait for the price to drop.
Yeah,
time.
I just
way to go.
It's a shame because that 4 made so much. I mean, for a Freddy film, made a shit ton of money.
I think
most profitable of the Freddy films, but it's like one of the by far weakest of the series.
Well, the thing with it is it had a lot going for it until they killed off the rest of the Dream Warriors. And then after that, you're left with these characters that are just only half established and it's kind of boring and don't really have the charisma.
Yeah, they're just like, it's much like with the later Friday films. Like, I always think of Part 7 because in Part 7 you have the people staying across from Tina's house. And it's the most random mishmash of people that would never in a million years be caught hanging out in the same house. But it's like, we got to have every demographic in a high school represented in this movie. Mm-hmm. And that's what I feel like they did with Nightmare 4. We got to have the hot, tough girl, the nerdy girl, the shy, timid girl, the guy who's a little bit more confident. It's like every cliche that's found in a high school, we got to have represented in these movies. That way they can all say, that's me on the screen. That's what it looked like if Freddy killed me.
I did like Alice's brother. But then they killed him off too soon. And I'm like, well, that was one of your more charismatic, newer characters that you're trying to establish. And you kill him off. I'm like, well, now you've just kind of taken the wind out of the sails for the rest of the picture, because he should have been one of the guys that made it at least until the very end.
Yep. If he had to die, preferably closer to the end, like
have him.
Which I know that's where Alice gets her one of her many powers is she gets the kung fu.
Yeah, she absorbs. Her brother.
Which seeing a girl kung fu fight Shredder is just, I mean, not Shredder. What the fuck am I talking about?
Freddy.
Jesus Christ.
You're thinking, hey, coming
I'm
out.
crossing over Turtles and Freddy Krueger, man. Like, Playmates has got I got another great idea. I can make it shittier.
Michelangelo had too much pizza, and now he's having bad dreams. Freddy Krueger shows up. Check this
I
out.
thought it was the Shred dude, man, because he had claws in his hands. And God, boy, what a bad mashup idea. Oh, just give it time. Fuck.
Shredder.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Hey, that sounds like a future shitty custom idea to me. I don't know about you, Tyler.
Yeah, it might show up on someone's fucking social media channel where it's like, hey, look at the shitty custom I made. Tell me how awesome I am.
Can we talk about this though? Because Leo's saying Freddy wasted potential as a villain, but put in here because of part 3. And I know you're...
Wait, I'm lost on the question here.
No, just saying that Freddy. He's saying that Freddy there was wasted potential for being like a horror movie.
Oh yeah, villain
because of part 3, and I can understand totally. Like, I love part 3, but the direction that they went with that story put them on the track to what we got with 4 and 5.
What sucks is I feel like Freddy is not an overly wisecracking, boogeyman in part 3. There's some creepy moments in 3, like, I mean, the marionette kill, like at the beginning when he shows up in the mirror and causes Kristen to cut her wrists.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's kind of in shadow laughing at her in the mirror, and obviously the snake, looks quite cool and menacing. And then the way he kills Taryn, with the like, he's let's get high, but he does it. He's playing it straight though. I feel like that's like Welcome to Prime Time, bitch, is meant to be malicious. It's not meant to be funny. Even though people laugh at the joke, he's saying it, in a very threatening and ugly manner. He's not trying to be, in part 4, he's putting on sunglasses, how's this for a wet dream? Like, I get that joke, but it's like, okay, everything's now to be a fucking pun.
Yeah. Well, actually, to kind of clarify a little bit, part 3 comment was about why part 4 made so much money. Part 3 is the best Freddy in my opinion, but part 4 made so much money because of part 3.
Yes. Yeah,
I would agree with that. But I would say the story direction from part 3 is what kind of caused the diminishing return of part 4 and part 5, because it's now, all right, we're establishing these rules in 3 and now we're starting to branch out. How do we have to take these elements and work them into the story? And then that's when you get the stuff of Alice is absorbing all the powers from everyone that's being killed and their abilities and what they like. And it's really just started getting too much. It got too convoluted.
Yeah,
and
I mean, it was a cool concept. Like, in your dreams, like, yeah, maybe you something you aspire to be is only like Kincaid. Like, maybe in real life he's not a strong individual, but in the dreams, yeah, he's a powerhouse. Like, because that's something you aspire. Like, if we were shared like when you're first being introduced to characters, like, they're very reserved, they don't really want to talk to anybody, but you learn that Joey wishes he could talk to people. Like, he's just a scared, timid, young teenager. He doesn't like to talk because he's just a nervous wreck all the time. Yeah. Kincaid wishes he could lash out, but he can't. But clearly that's not his personality. He's fuck you.
Yeah.
He screams and yells at people, so he's not. I think if we were introduced to these characters where they wish they could be what they are in the dreams, it would make more sense of like. But then I'm like, then in part 4, and they say, okay, if you die, I get your powers, or Alice. He was like, no,
yeah,
that's just stupid.
Yeah,
and the movie drags on and on and on and on. It's only an hour and a half. I feel like it's fucking 3 hours.
Well, you have that one sequence too where they keep.
Oh man, the first time I saw that, I'm like, God, this shit needs to stop.
Yeah, I hated that. But
And I love the movie poster for Part 4. It's got one of the best movie posters. I remember. I mean, just the junkyard and the claws in the ground, and then him like tearing into his face is such a. I don't know how you describe it. I mean, ever since I saw that VHS as a kid, I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
And the look of the movie is great, and
it looks good, yeah.
Yeah, and the special effects in it are good, but it's just all the things. It's like, oh, Kincaid's dog's gonna piss on the bones, and now Freddy's back. It's like, no,
it makes no fucking sense.
It doesn't.
And I think they I mean, in the documentary of Never Sleeping, I think they pretty much just like, it's like, are you implying that you really had no idea, so you just thought it'd be funny to have a dog piss fire?
Yeah.
And it makes no sense even more for Kincaid's actual dog, like a good dog. This is not a demonic dog that shows up in the dream and does this. This is Kincaid's dog, like man's best friend. Where's the logic in that?
Yeah.
Like, I had no problem with a dog doing it, but it should be a demonic dog. Like in his dream, he thinks it's his dog, but it's a demonic version in the dream. But like that whole setup of like the junkyard, like, and then the cars close in, he screams and yells Freddy's back, and it pulls back, and like the planet is nothing but a junkyard. Like, that's cool as shit.
Yeah.
Kills Kincaid. It's just kind of a stab in the stomach. It's not as creepy as you're leading up to, like when you see Freddy in shadow, and you see that ADR of like, you shouldn't have buried me, I'm not dead. Like, it's a good creepy reintroduction of the character.
And it's such a shitty way to take out characters that were so awesome in Part 3. Like, why do? And granted, Joey's death was
that was a good death though.
Cool.
Like but it was not as. I guess I'm just thinking, looking back at like compared to like Johnny Depp's death.
Yeah.
Where it's like, like, what the fuck, Like, of course, I'm also thinking about when seeing that as a 5th grader. And it traumatized me beyond any words. But the death was just not as, even though like the aftermath when Joey's mom walks in, he's trapped inside the bed, like that's fucked up. Like, that's good.
Yeah.
So breaking it down that way, Joey's death is good, but what?
Hope everyone's enjoying our Nightmare on Elm Street retrospective here on Master
I forgot. We're supposed to be
Powercast.
wrapping this show up. Well, but coming up, we got Rennie Harlan joining us, because what the fuck's he doing right now?
Yeah.
Making Driven 2.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just here for the vibes.
And you know what? Neither do we. We're just going on a random tangent about the Nightmare films. This is the bonus part of something we don't plan to do.
Yeah. But hey, it stemmed from the comments that we got. So appreciate all of you.
Yeah, so this is what happens. You people constantly contribute more to us. It gives us more fuel for the fire.
Absolutely. So make sure to ring that bell so you're notified when we're live. Join us here in the chat so you can steer us in this path of talking about random. I mean, it ties in because I just watched those movies right there.
It does. Talking about shitty mashups and all this other stuff like Shredder and.
Yeah, Shredder, man. Let's bring Freddy Krueger into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe.
Yeah, this is fucking great. Yeah, some jerk-off's going to make a shitty custom of that.
Let's make that happen. And hey, this week, I got no holds barred, but can you guess what movie this scene is from?
Thank you for your time.
I can't believe what a bunch of nerds we are. We're looking up money laundering in a dictionary.
Yeah, well, you guys can both eat my ass, okay?